Surprise! Yeah, dude. That's I had a little fun. You know, it's early Saturday morning, and yeah, we kind of throwing this up there. Didn't get our usual promoting our next episode, and so figured, hey, you know, we're still gonna do it. Just now it's like, hey, surprise, we're live. We're going live today, and it's like an hour earlier.
It's all good. We'll get better at that.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, before we get started, you know, what's going on, everyone? Super happy you're here. Super happy you're going to spend the morning with us. Welcome to another episode of Those Two Dads, where we talk all things dadpreneur, right? Everybody hears about mompreneur, but nobody really hears about dadpreneur all that much. But Kyle and I both have traditional careers. We are husbands. We're also budding online marketers, and we're dads, of course. That's what the whole point of this podcast is about, is being a dad in the marketing world. So we'll talk about life. We'll talk about our experiences. We'll talk about how those things relate to juggling and balancing family while building our businesses. And so I'm Josh. This is Kyle, whichever direction he is. You never know which direction it shows up, like through StreamYard. But if you're lucky, you might catch the occasional little Those Two Dads minion running around, or as we like to call them, the tiny terrorists. But today we're actually going to talk about a little bit about content creation. What was that?
So the door's locked today.
Oh, there you go. Just lock them out. But yeah, today we're going to go over content creation. We're going to talk about building your authority a little bit. And really, we're going to focus on doing that, especially when you're first starting out. And so before we get started with that, if you're watching live, go ahead and drop a hashtag live. If you're on Facebook or YouTube stream, replay if you catch it later. And be sure to tag people, you know, your favorite dadpreneurs, mompreneurs, whatever. You know, we love helping people. We love sharing with others. We appreciate all the support that we're getting already. And we appreciate you guys getting the word out for us. And you can also catch the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and even Spotify. Yes, we're taking these and we're putting those out onto the podcast world because we just want to be able to impact lives and be able to help people feel like they can do it too. Just because they're a mom or a dad doesn't mean that they have to, you know, not do anything to better their life for the future. So, but yeah, without further ado, what is up, man? How's things going?
What's good?
Oh, what's good is I've got coffee in my hand, so that's what's good.
There you go.
That's but we got Chris hanging out with us this morning. What's up, buddy? What is up? Yeah. That is awesome.
What's up, Chris?
So Chris, okay, I'm going to talk about Chris real quick. So Chris is a guy.
Sir, man, I don't know about you, but the weather here is like super gloomy.
Oh, dude, it's terrible. Oh, it's terrible. Okay. Yeah, we've been having a bunch of wind and stuff, but no, I wanted to. So Chris is a dude that I met him here a little bit ago, and he is another network marketer just like myself. And, you know, we're both kind of getting into the online world and kind of doing those things. And I will say, like, something that's super cool about it is, you know, he's doing the whole, like, getting at that marketing, the organic marketing out there, you know, getting his voice out there and stuff like that. And he's been doing a couple new things with some of the strategies that we're using as well. And it's starting to get some different results and things like that. And but which is awesome. But something super cool about him, he has like the best radio voice ever. Like, seriously, I watch his live videos and I love it. Like, I get captivated because he's like, I'm not even gonna try to mimic. Like, it's just like this perfect, like, he called it a computer voice at one point, and I'm like, but it's like, you listen to it and you're like, yeah.
Smooth.
Yeah, but no, dude, it's one of the things that I will say that's really cool about doing stuff like this is just being able to meet a lot of people and see kind of how it impacts their lives and you know, just a lot of the things that people go through in terms of the different journeys they're on, right? Like, we have our journey, you know, and yours and mine are similar but not exactly the same. And so, but one of the things that I think that is important, and we're going to talk about it today, is like having a good strategy for content creation and also, you know, building that authority. And, you know, we're going to obviously talk about that today. But I think what's important about that is people lose sight of what it takes, like, to just be an influence, right? To be that authority. They think that you've got to be all these big time gurus and experts and do all these, crazy things. And I don't agree that that's necessary. I think that you got to be yourself. And so I'm gonna let you take that, man, because I know that we've talked about this, and you got some good stuff going up there in the hat rack, right?
In the hat rack. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about authenticity, really. Like with what you were just talking about, you don't need to be some like guru that's got a million years of experience and 100,000 followers or whatever it is. All you got to be is one step ahead of the next the person that you're trying to help. Just one step ahead. And honestly, it's a little bit. To me, it's more valuable talking to somebody who's just one step ahead. It's more relatable than it is talking to somebody that feels like they're miles ahead of me. Like
Right.
there's value in each of it, but in each piece, but just knowing that somebody's just going through it, just ahead, that authenticity, that realism, that closeness to kind of the spot where you're at, that all, that's more motivating and more, I think just for me by itself, it's more, it just gets me going. I'd rather talk to those people and it helps me to push along and push through some of my own limiting beliefs to get to that next level.
Oh, for sure. And you're right.
And you touched on something else too, when you were talking about the helping people just a minute ago, like that is why we do it, right? That's the whole point, to when you disconnect from thinking about things about money. Yeah, we're all here to make money when we're working online, but it's really about helping that next person, like reaching down, grabbing their hand and helping, pull them up to the next level. And some people you may see pass you by, and you need to be rooting those people on. And that's the best part, is that you had a hand in helping them get to where they want to go. And that's exciting. And that's true leadership, is being able to help somebody do that. And it's awesome.
Right. So then how does someone put that into their content, right? Like when they want to do those things and they want to, show, the side of them that is super important, like that, like, they're helpful and they want other people to succeed. How does that go into content creation?
For sure. Well, so you'll hear a lot of people talk about the RVL method, right? And so you know what that is, correct?
Right. Yeah. Results, value, lifestyle. Yeah.
Exactly. So results, value, lifestyle. So that's your content blueprint, right? And so first thing you're going to think about, though, results, man, I'm just starting out. What the heck do you mean results? And that can come from really anywhere. You can talk about sharing your own little wins, your own big wins, leveraging other people in your program's wins, sharing team results. It doesn't have to be these I made $5,000 today type of result, because you're not there yet. It's all relative to where you're at in your own journey. And that's where it all goes back to authenticity, right? Like if you've not been marketing online for 3 years and you make, $500,000, you don't need to pretend to be that person, because it's inauthentic. It's not true. You don't know what you're talking about, and people see right through that kind of stuff. You need to stay true to yourself, true to where you're at, and tell your story, right? It's your story about the little things that you're winning in each day that actually bring people to you. If you're just trying to fake it till you make it, people are going to see right through that crap, so it starts there.
Right.
So
well,
what are you doing? What are you doing in your own results, Josh, that in your results types post that help boost?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is a lot of my stuff is all about like my own personal journey, right? Like when I go and I talk about stuff that I go and put a post out there, it's not about what have I gotten money wise. It's not about what have I gotten. I didn't a big house or nice cars or whatever. It's about what's changing in my life. I just, I posted this weekend about our leadership conference and just how we've done work to qualify for something like that, right? Like we had to go through and actually qualify for the ability to get into these conference, this one conference where they go deeper, they go into more detail into mindset and attitude and building authority and things like that. And so that's what I talk about a lot of the times, because while we do have people on our team and we're bringing people on consistently and we're making money and we're, selling product and all that kind of stuff, to me, that only does so much, right? Like when I see people posting, look, another $1,000 day, $1,000 day, $1,000 day, that's great. But how are you helping somebody other than just giving them the opportunity to get $1,000 day, right?
Sure.
Like, what is
I
it?
think you're bringing up a good point too that people think about. Sorry, I'm interrupting you, but
yeah, you're good.
But specific to that point, like some people cringe a little bit, like, oh, I don't really want to post about how much money I'm making. But the reality is, you need to when you get there, you do need to start leveraging that a little bit in your results posts, because you do need to establish yourself as an authority. But
right.
Before you get in, but that's not all your posts. Like what I really loved about what you're saying though, is you were leveraging the little things. Like you had to qualify to go to that conference. So you can talk about that. That's not some huge, made $10,000 this week. You had to do these little things and to be able to go to that. And that's important. It's important to talk about those little wins and celebrate those little wins along the way. That helps build momentum. It helps build that connection between you and your tribe. All those things are very important when you're talking specifically about results. So I think all of it encompasses together, especially as you grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is, like, you'll hear a lot of times when you get into good mentorship, right? And good mentorship, they talk about celebrating every win, even the little ones. And the reason for that is not because they're like, oh, go be, boastful and go be egotistical. No, it's all about, you want to show, like, when you're just starting out, you don't have the authority to say, look, I'm a top earner in network marketing, or I'm a 6-figure earner in affiliate marketing, or, I do, like, even let's talk about like the crypto traders, right? How many of these guys do we get a day that come through and go, look at me, I drive a Lamborghini and I have a mansion? And it's like, you might, but
they absolutely might, but they're so cringy.
Right. But that's the thing is, like, they go through and they're like, you want to live this lavish life like me? Come do this. And here's the thing. There's a lot of people out there that do crypto trading that are great people. And I'm friends with some of them and we talk constantly. But the big thing is, like, they are all focused on, do you want to be a millionaire? We'll help you be a millionaire. And it's like, that is the wrong message to send people.
That's too far. That's not relatable.
Right. It's not, it's a dream that people want, but it's not something that I believe that they're going to have that be able to grasp. Like, that's a long-term goal. Like, do I want to be able to tell people that I'm a 7-figure earner in network marketing? Absolutely. But does that mean that I'm going to say, like, hey, I'm a 7-figure 7-figure earner in network marketing, just to say that, to speak it into existence and then use that as my marketing strategy? Absolutely not. Because I have the little wins I can work on. And that's why they talk about that in mentorship is, if you want to build authority, don't immediately tell people like what the end result is that they could have. Yeah, you want to help people dream and have goals, but the big thing is that's more of a long-term thing. Short-term is talk about the things that you're doing through the day. Like, a lot of the stuff, like, I've got a whole list of one-liners that I've written down. And these one-liners, I don't just put the one line out and say, okay, here you go, here's my one-liner. I take it, I use that as a title for the post, and then I write about that and what it means to me, because that's what I have, and that's what I can use for my marketing, for my content. And if somebody resonates with that, then that's going to connect us. And maybe that turns into something now, maybe that turns into something later, but the whole idea behind it is somebody needed that day. I don't know who, I don't know when or what or where, but somebody needed that day. And that's why my content creation is all centered around the things that I'm learning, the little wins that I have, and how can I make it better for other people, and how can I help other people feel better about what they're doing, so in turn they can do the same thing later on.
So you hit on a couple of really key points that I think we should dive a little bit deeper in there. But specifically to telling your story there and helping somebody that day, you know, that's why it's so important to continue to build content, to continue to tell your story. Your story is going to be different than mine. My story is going to be different than Chris's, who was on, or Ursula's. And we're all our voices are going to connect with all these different people in different ways. Some people are going to like you. Some people are not. Some people are going to like me. Some people are not. That's okay. But that's why we're all telling our own story, because each of our voices resonates differently, and our impact on an audience as a whole can be different. We could tell the same story, the same exact lesson to a room of 1,000 people, and some of them will go and gravitate towards you, some of them to me, some of them not at all, some of them to somebody else, right? But that's why we keep talking. That's why we keep telling these stories, so we can connect with that tribe, so we can get to our own tribe who resonate with us, and then we can really start to take off. But it's so important, because you don't know who you're going to help. You don't know who you're going to help. And just telling those little everyday stories is it can be so powerful. And on top of that, there's people that, like, just specifically, if you want to talk about Facebook and Facebook engagement and your friends list, there's people that probably right now will read your stuff, but they don't engage with what you have going on, but it's inspiring them. And one of these days, they're going to continue to see that over and over, and they're going to finally be like, you know what, today's the day. Today's the day. And it took maybe 30 of your posts that they saw, but it finally, your voice and your consistency resonated with them to be able to be like, you know what, Josh, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take action. I'm going to change my life. You know, I'm going to change whatever it is I'm doing in my day, or my whatever, or my goals, or whatever it needs to be. That's what makes it so powerful. But let's jump. Sure. Let's jump back in real fast. Let's keep talking about RVL. So we talked about results there for a little bit. Let's talk about lifestyle, and then we can jump more into kind of how we're building that specific content.
Sure.
But the V in RVL, right, is value. So we just talked about results. The V is value. So this is the content that needs to be helpful to your target audience. So we all know. So, you know, I'm in affiliate marketing. You're in network marketing for the most part, right? Those are primaries,
right?
And our audiences are a little bit different. They're not necessarily the same people, and we need to have valuable content that's targeting directly to who we're trying to speak to, right? So you need to give that value. No matter what you might be telling yourself, you don't need to overcomplicate what that value is. But it's just really putting yourself out there. Again, you're just one step ahead of all you need to be is one step ahead of that person, and just talk about, again, your experience. As long as you just kind of hit on that. As long as your value content just helps one person, it was worth putting out there, right? It doesn't need to help millions of people. If you help one person, it's worth it.
Yep.
So these types of posts are tips, tricks, how-tos, even quotes can be valuable. Things that you've learned from courses or podcasts, you know, an epiphanous thought that you had in the day about what may help you in your business. You know, those are all valuable things. I think that this one's a little bit more self-explanatory than maybe what results posts are. I think it's just a little bit more clear, really. Like, you can take a lesson and just extrapolate out on that, or give your takeaways. You know, it's in the same way that we're talking about our voices resonate differently with somebody else. So do the way we comprehend a lesson. Like, we could all listen to the same course and all have a different takeaway that was more prevalent to us, and we can share that. What are some of the things that you're doing, Josh, for your value posts?
Yeah, well, and so one of the things you said there is, you know, super crucial, is you don't have to really wait for that influence, right? To have thousands or millions of people that are watching your content. Like, I'll just be honest, like our video podcast, those two dads podcast, that doesn't get millions of views every time we do an episode, but we still do it because we know that there's somebody
Not
out
even
there.
close.
Yeah, not even close. But we do it because there's somebody out there that needs what we're doing, that they need us as their rock, their pillar.
This is
and
a version of our own RVL method.
Right, absolutely. And we're doing it kind of together. Like sometimes we'll hit all three. We'll hit RVL all in one podcast. Sometimes it's all about value. Like, this one we're obviously focusing more on value, but sometimes we talk more lifestyle. Maybe there's times that we'll go through and talk about what we're doing. But for value posts, the thing is that one of the things that I do is I do like a weekly Facebook Live where I go into either tips about, like, right now I'm doing a mindset series. So like on my profile and my page, I'm doing a mindset series where talking about freeing your mind from certain things. And we kind of talked a little bit about that here last month in our podcast, and that's something that is valuable to a lot of people because they may not understand kind of what that means. If like a good example is I talked about on Wednesday. I do mine every Wednesday. And I talked about, the first point was freeing the way you think about money, like freeing your mind from the way you think about money. And, people thinking that there's a finite amount of money out there and that, they have to get theirs now or else they're going to be left behind. And, thinking that debt is okay and thinking that they got to have good credit and all this stuff. And it's like, maybe there's people out there that are in financial services that are listening to this going, oh my gosh, like my whole business would crumble if people didn't think they needed debt and credit and all that stuff. But it's like, that's not really true. Like
that's not an abundant mindset either.
Right. Exactly. It's thinking of an abundance mindset instead of a limiting mindset. But value posts are things like that, things that, are useful, things that people can actually take action on. That's the way I see it a lot is,
actionable items.
Right. That's what the value posts are all about, is especially when you do like a marketing tip, right? Like I did a series where I talked about automation and I did, walkthroughs on different tools. Those are value posts because those are things where someone looks at that and goes, oh shoot, I need that tool. I'm going to go ahead and go get it. And, it's something they can take action on. And that's where some people kind of get the wrong idea when they're like, oh, it's valuable. Like when I go put out my result posts, it's also valuable. It's like, is it though? It's like, if you're talking about the money you made yesterday, I wouldn't really call that value. That's just a result. That's just you saying, look at what I've done.
It's not actionable.
And the value would be if you said,
how am I going to take action on you making that $1,000? Like you need to talk about how you made that $1,000. That's what's actionable. The steps that you took, right? And you can break those out in several posts.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing too, is one thing that I think that a lot of people, they lose sight on that they think they have to have these, extravagant posts. And I'll admit, I am a proponent of like I am an example of someone who I can write a long post really quickly. I get a lot of stuff that goes on up here.
Be quiet. No, you don't.
Yeah, I can. But the thing is that a lot of people, they don't have to do that. You don't have to write those long drawn out posts every time. It could be 3-4 lines. So like, that's the thing is people, you don't have to make it difficult. You don't have to make it hard.
No. And the copywriting skills come with it, as you continue to do something, it grows over time, right? So copywriting is no different. So the more you practice, the better you get. And the longer form you'll be able to take. And some of those long form ones take some planning. Sometimes you could even use other people's posts and kind of use it as a barometer to kind of write your own, right? So you can get some better ideas on how you need to write longer form posts. But not every post needs to be long at all, really. You can mix it up, mix and match it. I think the bigger piece there is just have congruent messaging, so you're not splattered all over the place. But congruent messaging, and it can be short, can be long. You can use something like, here's 5 tips on XYZ, and that may be a little shorter, but then your next 3 posts or next 5 posts can be long form on what tip 1 was, and then tip 2, and then tip 3, and then those are more posts as you go. So now one idea became 6.
Right. And different days too. Don't do 6 posts in a day, guys. Like don't
that's why
don't
it's
make
RVL, right? Results, value, lifestyle.
Right.
And it's certainly mix and match.
Right. But yeah, I mean, and that's a good point that you made there too, was when you're talking about, the tips, right? Like there's a couple things when you're looking at content creation, like, so this Free Your Mind series, right? That's what I'm working on right now. And what I will say about that is there's like 16 or 17 points through the course of this series that I'm going to have. And I'm doing like 4 points a day, or 4 points a week. And what people don't realize is that you need to be concise with these things, and you need to be able to bring it down to a level where people can actually stay engaged. Our podcasts like this is more value stuff where we're kind of free. We have a topic, we're kind of free form. We don't really have like specific scripts we're reading off of or anything like that. This is all just off the cuff. We just give ourselves a couple bullet points to follow along, and then we just talk about it. But like, you don't want to go too deep into things and do too much at once. And that's why, like Kyle's talking about, breaking up, like do the 5 tips and then go deep into those 5 tips later in different posts. Maybe do a week-long series where you start out on Monday where you say, hey, here's 5 marketing tips. And then Tuesday through Saturday, you go deep into those 5 tips, and then take Sunday off and, spend time with your family or go do something you love to do. And that right there, like if you built that out, come like say like Sunday night or whatever, you sat down, you wrote out your week, and you had all the things you're going to talk about in the week. You know how easy that is to just get on, do it every day, and go about your day. Like, it doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah. And then what you're talking about too, like you can repurpose all that type of content. So if you have a website or a blog, like you can put those as your blog posts. If you have email list that you're trying to build out, like a lot of those can be your content for email lists. Like it's what you can do with your content is endless.
Yeah.
So RVL, right? So we touched on results and value, and the L is for lifestyle. So lifestyle posts don't have to be the I'm on the beach with $10,000 cash in my hand and some chick in a bikini. Like lifestyle is.
That sounds great.
Like, I talk about hockey with my kids. My oldest son's in hockey. My youngest just learned to skate. Like that's lifestyle. This is lifestyle. As we're just BSing on the podcast. You see us I'm in a hoodie. You're in a t-shirt. You got your comics in the back. Like that stuff's like that's lifestyle. It's just about being relatable, right? It's just showing a little bit of who you are as a person, a little bit of personality, and we're human. That's it. We're human beings. We're not just some person that's typing some stuff out on Facebook. We're not just somebody who's talking about marketing. We got real lives, real ideas, real thoughts. We have real fun. Like that's all it needs to be. It can be whatever you want. Like that's the best part about that. It doesn't need to be some flashy, luxurious thing. It could be, your son built a Pokemon Lego, which is right here.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, a good example, right? So sometime back, this was last year. God, when was it? It was like, I'll say like March or April, somewhere around that time frame. And we had actually gone out and we had given our oldest the ability to go pick out like a special Lego set, because my son loves Legos as well. And he wanted to get one of those big Technic sets. Like you've seen those where like they actually move and do all that stuff. And he picked the big crane one. And I'm like, dude, this is going to take you forever to build. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. And I'm actually going to like document us, like him and I did it together. And I documented through stories us building this thing through the course of the week. It took us 4 days, every night, 4 days to build this thing, like 3 hours a night. And so I was taking stories of him putting the parts together and us doing this, whatever, and it was all done.
Yeah.
And here's what's really cool about that is that had nothing to do with marketing. It had nothing to do with business. It had nothing to do with, anything going on. It was everything just to show the kind of lifestyle, show that I'm a dad. I like being able to spend time with my son. And that's what's important to me in life. Another
and also
example.
that you have the time.
Right. Yeah.
But I think we got a delay here or something, but also it shows that you have the time to do that stuff. I think that's important. Like one of those things that that holds some people back, that they're working their 40-hour-a-week job, or maybe that job really isn't 40 hours. Maybe it's like 60. You hear people all the time work 68 hours a week, right? But they don't want that sort of lifestyle and job anymore because they want to spend more time with their kids. Like they need that time. And you're showing that it can be done, and we're not quite where we want to be yet, but
right.
It fills in those gaps. Like you can do all of it. You can. And some of it's a little short-term sacrifice, but you can still make it happen.
Yeah, and you're right. There's a short-term sacrifice to a lot of things that most people don't realize that it's here's an example that I was always given, right? Is if someone told you that you had to be locked away in a cave, like you were taken away from everything and you had to stay there for 1 year, but when you came out, you were instantly a multimillionaire. You had investments that were already put in place for you. Your family's all taken care of. You don't have to work a job. You get to spend all the time in the world with your kids, all this kind of stuff. Would you do it? And almost every person will say no. Like why would I go live in a cave for a year? Now, it's a little bit of an extreme example, but it's like, would you rather put yourself through decades of hell of being stressed out? And, my big thing that my line.
Where's that cave at?
That cave, well, it's probably not in a very nice place. It's probably like, cold, and we'll just say it's like Antarctica, right? And you're not given much in the way of supplies. let's not get too far into the semantics of where the cave's at, right? But here's my point: is like when you look at some things, and like I always tell people when they ask me like, why are you building your business? And I say, well, I'm building my business because I'm sick and tired of building someone else's dream and giving my family the leftovers.
Yeah. And
that's the big thing for me. And they say, well, like, is that why you spend a lot of time away from your family to build your business? I said, I'm never really away from my family to build my business. Not entirely. I mean, there's times I'm out, like last night, we were out at a meeting with one of our downline, and, we both didn't go. Like my wife and I both didn't go. She stayed home with the kids, and I went out with, one of our downline and went to a meeting for him and served him and helped him with his meeting. And I would rather take those moments and go do those things now to have the ability to have more time with my family later than just working my job for 9-10 hours a day and come home and get 2-3 hours with the family before everybody goes to bed. And like, that's where, when it comes to the lifestyle stuff, what people want to see, what they absolutely want to see, is they want to see that we are just like them, that we are, in this case, like that's one of the reasons we started this podcast. We're a couple of dads that have some rowdy kids, that have a wife that supports what we're doing. And, we're trying to build a better life for them. And we want to show people that we're just regular people. We're not anything, we're special in our own ways. Maybe a little Ed, but, but the thing is that we believe that we have special skills and things like that, and we have things that we can help people. But in reality,
Liam Neeson.
Right. I have a particular set of skills. I may not have a lot of money. I may not have a little. I'm terrible with it. I can't do Liam Neeson.
That's a great Liam Neeson impersonation.
That's all he does though, right? He's just like that raspy, like, I am Liam Neeson.
he's
I don't
totally
know
the
what I'm
same
saying right
character in
now.
every movie. There's no doubt about
Yeah,
it.
every movie.
But
It's
anyway, back to your
kind of like
particular set of skills.
yeah, specific set of skills. Or could you imagine? Okay, sorry, this is off topic, but I just thought about this. Could you imagine if it was like Arnold Schwarzenegger doing that movie, and he'd be like, I don't have any money, but I have so special set of skills.
You just wanted to show off your Schwarzenegger impersonation.
No. I will kill you. Do it now.
Wow.
Anyway, sorry, way off topic, but
that's amazing.
But yeah, so it's just we just want to show people. we always have a moment, but no, it's just showing people that we're real, right? Showing people that we are not any different than anybody else. We're the reason I said special is we're not anything special, right? We don't have like this superpower. We don't have this crazy amount of influence that we just showed up here with. This is us, and this is what we show about. Like that's when we show that lifestyle, that's what it's for. But yeah,
couldn't have said it better, man. That's exactly it. Just a little window into who you are. That is as simple as it needs to be. So that's the RVL method, right? So results, value, lifestyle. Keep it authentic, guys. What else do we want to talk about here? Let's talk about inspiration for some of those. So for some of those posts, though, I personally, I mean, you have your own Facebook feed, right? And we're Facebook marketers, and we spend a lot of time in Facebook. So other people's posts are 100% on the table for inspiration. Do not copy people's posts. Like, I feel like I need to say that. Do not copy anybody's posts, but you can ethically model what some people are talking about and repurpose and rewrite some of those ideas into your own words and regurgitate it back out there, right? Again, it just goes back to your voice resonates differently with every other person's voice, and your audience, you'll find your audience. You'll find the people that connect with you. But, other inspiration, like audiobooks or any book really, like for when I first started out, I didn't really know what the heck to post, right? I don't know about you, but I had this overwhelming just lock, like writer's block. And so what I did is I'm really into John Maxwell, the leadership author, right? And so I grabbed his 21 Laws book, and I started just combing through some of the things that I had highlighted in that book when I had read it for the first time a number of years ago when I had a leadership coach, and started pulling and lifting some of those ideas out and regurgitating them out as value posts. And that's where I started, until I could start building up my own knowledge vault on what it is that I needed to specifically be posting about. Like, that's where I started. Podcasts are another great value source or inspiration source.
Yep.
YouTube videos, like there's a number of things that you can do. I know a lot of people talk about, like, if you get stuck on content, jump over to YouTube, find like a guru that's out there that's got a number of views and likes on that content. Find something that resonates with you there, and then just start with that topic. Grab that topic. It's just like you said, start with the topic and then just start writing a little bit, and write till you feel like it's not interesting anymore, and then there's your post.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's something that I know when I was first introduced into like ways to create content is the different types of inspiration are like things that happen to you during the day, good or bad, anything you see, like driving down the road. One of the things that we talk about things, people are like, well, where do I send or store a lot of the stuff? Right. And so we've all got phones on us, right? We've all got phones, sitting in our vicinity. And like, I know you're using yours right now, but the thing is that
got the case though. This is a good representation.
Right. There's the case. Yeah. So like the thing with it is if you got your phone on you, use something like, a notepad or like like a note-taking app like Evernote, or, you know, do a voice
I use
recorder,
Trello,
or
man. I use
yeah,
Trello. I
Trello.
have a content
Yeah,
creation board, and then I can move it along. Here's
right.
my idea board. Here's my like create like in creative, and here's where I posted it. And you can have little demarkers too, like where you want to post it. So if you're on
Yep.
multiple platforms, so I
Right.
mean, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, here on Facebook. I got my email list. Like there's a gazillion
Right.
places you can post it. I got Pinterest. you know, I have a presence on all of them. Not to say everybody needs to, but like you can keep yourself organized that way on where you want to post things.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is like I've got a couple different notebooks in Evernote. I've got one that's talks about Facebook posts, like Facebook post ideas, Facebook Live ideas. I've got an idea generator, you know, notebook that's basically just anytime I have an idea, I put it up there, throw it in Evernote. And the thing is that, you know, I've got like I talked about that list of one-liners, right? Like there's a list of, you know, a couple thousand one-liners, and some of them are places I've picked up somewhere else. You know, there's plenty of places out there to get inspiration from. But the things that I will say when you go into like specifics, right, is like, what are things that you're passionate about, right? Like, what are things that you can derive lessons from? You know, I'm passionate about family. I'm passionate about barbecue. I'm passionate about bowling or golf, you know, so I can talk about those things. I can get inspiration from those things. You know, you got your boys are in hockey, right? So like you can use hockey as an inspiration, and you could have a hockey lesson that turns into a business lesson. You know, it's all those things that our life experiences are our inspiration. You know, what is it that you value? What is it, you know, like for another one for me is music and movies. You know,
Movies, 100%.
Yeah, movies, dude. Like
100%.
one of my favorite inspirational parts of a movie, which is people are probably going to laugh at this, but like Dumb and Dumber is probably one of the most inspirational movies out there. And the reason why is like, look at what they did.
So you're
They
saying
wanted.
there's a chance.
You're right. Exactly. and that's the whole thing is like, he goes in and he talks about, you know, he talks to this chick and he's like, you know, going in there and he's like, he messes up. He's like, what are the chances a guy like you and a girl like me can get together? And, you know, so he totally screws it up, but she's like, not very good. He's like, not very good isn't like 1 in 100. And she's like, more like 1 in a million. He's like, so you're saying there's a chance. And that's, you know, to me, that's inspirational because and now I'm thinking about it, like, I don't think I've ever posted about that. Now I think I should post about that. But we talk about it amongst our team in network marketing a lot, because the thing is that you don't want to throw an opportunity out the window or throw an idea out the window just because you may think that it's not as good as your other ideas. You know, you may think it's not as good as something else that's going on in your life, and you kind of push it off on the back burner. But think about that line, right? So you're saying there's a chance. You're saying that there's some way that somebody could possibly resonate with that content. And so you do it. And then guess what? Somebody resonates with it and they're like, oh man, this is so good. And you just made someone's day. And that's why, you know, things are good like that. But to go back to, you know, where to store it, like, there's so many things out there, guys. Like even your own calendar, like a Google Calendar, you could create little events as like your Facebook post ideas. You know, Trello is a good one. There's another one.
Even Google Sheets.
Google Sheets, yeah, you can set up spreadsheets and do that. I mean, shoot, if you really want to get down into it, you know, if you don't know how to use all these other things, almost everybody has Word, you know, or WordPad or Notepad or whatever on their computers. Like throw it into a notepad, throw it into something. But I have gotten to points where I've stopped my car on the side of the road to write down an idea because of the fact that I saw a billboard and I was like, oh man, like that is really good. I want to use that. And I'll pull over and put it down on my phone.
Yep. I take a lot of screenshots too. A lot of screenshots. And
Yeah.
I'll go back through whenever I'm building some content and then lift those ideas out of the screenshot and put it in my content creator and start
I don't
filling that
know
idea.
if this is going to come through very well. I'm going to try. So and for those that are listening to the podcast, like the audio version, you won't see this, but the big thing is, I've got a marketing folder, and I've got motivational stuff, right? And so I've got, social media posts, and I've got one that's motivational. And like, if you can see this, I mean, these are all screenshots that I've taken of motivational content, of just things that I've thought that resonated. I mean, you can see I'm still scrolling. This is all stuff that I can use to go put up on posts. And here's the thing: there's probably, I mean, shoot, I don't know how many files are in there. There's probably a couple hundred, maybe a few hundred. Like, could you imagine having, over time, over the course of a year, 2 years, whatever, and having hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ideas that you can just go call on any given day? And those things are not given to me. Those things are not things that I went and said, hey, I mean, you can. There's people out there that, sell
swipes
swipe
and stuff
files,
like that. Yeah.
but you don't want to be like everybody else. Like Chris said earlier, right? Like, I'm gonna showcase this again. Chris said there's only one you, right? So what resonates with you? What is inspiring to you? Because that's really what's truly important.
Well said. You touched on something earlier, and we were talking about it before the show started, but it's important too, guys. Like, use conversation, especially with fellow peers. Like, as you're connecting with people, as you're starting out, as you're connecting with people who you just are asking questions with, like, jump on some conversations. Those organic conversations will lead you down paths that you may not have gotten to if you're just sitting there in your own thought. Like, it is important to be social on social media. And when you're speaking with like-minded individuals, Josh and I do this all the time. Like, this is not the only time of the week that we talk. Nope. We jump on, we bounce ideas off of each other. Our conversations lead down a gazillion rabbit holes, but there's little nuggets that you can pull out. And I know for each of us in our conversations, we've been able to pull out nuggets that have translated into posts for our daily content. Like, it is important to grab inspiration from all over the place, and literally there are endless amounts. Like, if you have a writer's block, like I know I did in the beginning, it's your own self-limiting belief because you're feeling like you don't have anything to say. Just continue to put new information into your mind, continue to read, continue to consume courses and other people's content, and you will be able to find your voice. It's as simple as, and I'm talking about consuming there, but also just start writing and you will find your voice. Just start putting notes to a page and ideas will come out, and you will be able to have your own unique style, your own unique post. That they will certainly come. I can promise that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and two, the thing too is, like, while you're learning and while you're getting inspiration, also be taking small steps, taking action. Nobody wants to be stuck in information constipation mode. Like, I mean, just being constipated in general is not good, but you don't want to be stuck. Yeah, right. But don't be stuck just learning. Don't be stuck in that, hey, I'm building up and growing and whatever, because you can be progressing without actual progression, right? Like, you could be learning and growing, but if you're not actually taking action, you're not progressing in the right direction. You're just filling your mind up with all these things. And over time, what'll happen is your mind will get full of all this knowledge, but you won't actually have anything behind it to take action. And you'll actually take less action because you're getting so pent up, because you're like, I know all these things, but I don't know where to start. And then you learn another thing and you're like, oh, now I really don't know where to start. Really, and that's point. Where, it's good to have some direction too. Like, mentorship is good, but just take action, just do it. And you'll find, as time goes on, you'll get your voice.
No, that's perfect. You know, the more that you do, the more that you'll find like where your niche is, what you like, your style that you like, and you can drop off some of the other things that you were maybe hedging with or trying to work towards, and just take that actionable item that is actually income producing. You know, you'll be able to find that. It's just it's real life split testing. You know, that's all it is. Real life split testing, real life practice. I think we can turn back to that. I actually had a couple of conversations this week that just talk about like patience in general for as adults, right? Like we forget that when we were kids, we had to practice and practice and practice and practice to be able to get even decent at something, much less an expert, right? It is still no different as an adult. You need to be able to practice these things. And practice is just doing. It's just doing, right? So put your posts out there, start writing, start creating ideas, start having conversations, start taking action, and you will get better. I know. So for those that don't know, Josh and I were in the same, one funnel away challenge, what Russell Brunson puts out there, right? It's that $100 course. And in it, he talks about, it wasn't Russell. I think it was Steve Larson, right? He just talks about, or maybe it was both of them. It's been a while since I took the thing, but they just talk about, look, the first time you do something, you're not going to be good at it, but that's the point. That's okay. You got to just keep putting your content out there and you build over time. And what's funny about that too, is you may end up being that expert guru in a number of years down the way. But what's cool is when you document it, somebody can go back and look at your first one and be like, that's the same person. And that's relatable. That's relatable. So somebody that's thinking like, wow, how am I ever going to get to that level? Well, you had to start somewhere. And when they see the crappy content that you put out first, they're like, wow, they weren't naturally born with that gift. They had to work for it. It takes time. And I think that's important to remember. You just got to start. And as you build over time, as you practice, as you get better, you'll just continue to grow.
For sure. Yeah. And here's the thing is being an expert, people get scared of that word a lot and they're like, oh man, like I got to be an expert. Like, I don't know how to be an expert. I'm going to say this, and there's going to be people out there, they're going to probably call BS, but I'm going to say it. It's as simple as this: learn, do, teach. That's it. Those three things. Yep. Learn something, do it, then teach it.
That's not controversial.
No. But some people are going to be like, oh, well, that doesn't make you an expert.
It's that same OFA course, Steve. That same OFA course, man. Steve Larson, it's like, teach it. Teach. It's the best way to learn, the best way to reinforce the lessons that you're doing. It's the best way to show your quote unquote authority that, like you may just teach. If you're able to show somebody something new, you added major value to them. And if it's just one person, then it was worth going about it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, buddy, so you call it?
Yeah. I think that was exactly what we needed right there, man. That was good. And I think that, for those of you out there that are listening, and I know that we've had a few people that have been popping in and out here, and, people have been following along with us, and I appreciate all of you that are doing that. And what I will say that is, when it comes to what we're doing, we really appreciate it. We do thank you guys for being supportive. But if you ever have questions or you need help with something, reach out to one of us. Reach out to myself, reach out to Kyle, ask for help, see what's available out there that, we could do for you. That's what we're in, right? The business we're in is helping people. And if we can't help anybody, then there's really nothing for us to do. So we're here to help. If you have questions, definitely let us know. And
drop us a line of messenger, even if maybe you don't need help. Just if you got some value out of these things, or that you're listening, just shoot over a message. We'd love to hear from anybody who's tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're open to whatever, right? And that's the thing is super important, is that we're not untouchable.
Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. Oh.
Yep.
What's up?
He's made an appearance. The 4-year-old has invaded the space.
This is first. It is his first appearance on the show.
Maybe. What's up?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
you do a better job keeping your kids wrangled than mine.
Yeah, they're usually pretty good about staying occupied, right? They don't get all nutso as well. This one is our living, breathing Sour Patch Kid. Like, straight up, if there was a mascot for the Sour Patch Kids candy, that'd be him. Because that's exactly how he is. He'll be super, super sour about stuff, and then he'll get really mad and get angry and throw stuff, and then he'll be like, "Oh, now I want to be sweet and be all snuggly." And it's like, thanks, dude.
Man, that's our youngest to a T too. Ollie's exactly like that. He'd be a super crab ass, and then turn around and then he's got this sly little smile, and it just makes you laugh, and he's laughing with you.
Absolutely. So. Cool. Well, let's wrap it up here. So
that's the part that makes it worth it. Like, you get so angry sometimes with what they're doing, and
yeah, and then they go like this.
I think we had some audio problems there.
Maybe. So.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Well, that was another successful episode of Those Two Dads, and we'll catch everybody else on the next episode here in a couple weeks.
How you doing?